朔风疾。
Hello, my name is Blaziken, and welcome to my Kazuha video. Now, I would have expected most people to have already rolled for Kazuha by now, but if you're just waiting to see how strong Kazuha actually was, if you're on the fence about rolling, or if you're here just to see how to actually use Kazuha, right? What teams he should be on, how to build him, well, this video is for you. I'm going to go ahead and just answer the question right away. Should you roll for Kazuha? And the answer is simple, but not really. The question you should be asking is, do you already have main DPSs that you can use? Do you need the supports, right? Because if you don't have main DPSs, then Kazuha is not going to help you. But if you're here for supports, well, the Spanner's great. As Kazuha, it has Bennett. So, if you need the supports, go ahead and roll. But if you need the main DPSs, I would skip. Now then, with that out of the way, let's talk about how to actually use Kazuha, how to build him, and whether or not he's actually any good. So let's start by taking a look at what Kazuha actually does. His talents are pretty unremarkable outside of his Ascension 4 talent. This talent grants an elemental damage bonus to your entire team depending on what element Kazuha swirls, and of course, his EM. As such, we can get a pretty low investment, high value support out of him by just stacking a lot of EM and grabbing 4 VV. 4 VV is really strong on him because he swirls, so you're going to get extra swirl damage as well as, of course, the elemental shred. For his weapon, I'm literally just running elemental mastery. That's it. That's all you need. And yeah, outside of that, that's what he does. No real other substats, as you can see. Just really high EM. And that's it. So with his builds out of the way, there are 2 real ways we can run Kazuha. One of them's not great. So let's take a look at that one first, shall we? So the first way we're running him here is as a swirl enabler, right? He's kind of the main DPS here. He's doing a lot of swirl damage, and that's the bulk of our damage here. Now, you might have seen this with characters like Sucrose, and Kazuha doesn't do it quite as well as Sucrose. And the reason why is simply because he has a lot of downtime on his animo damage. So he can't swirl as much. He doesn't have swirl on his normals, so you end up having a lot of dead time. That's just lost DPS. But as you can see, it works fine. Now, as for the specific team I'm running here, I'm running not the regular comp. The regular comp's, Xingqiu, Beidou, normal Taser comp. But what we're running here is a bit different. And the reason why is because we need to break shields. Floor 12 right now is really annoying with the shields, so we need to break them. Xiangling's very good at breaking shields. We're on second half here, so we have Diona as well. And Lee is kind of here to supplement Kazuha when he's, not able to swirl. My Klee's built, so she's dealing a little bit of damage, but the majority of the damage is coming from Kazuha. Now the reason why I chose to run him second half here is mostly because I think second half is just more difficult. First half, it's kind of just beat by Venti, right? First half, if you have Venti, you just destroy it. Second half, you got the Geo Vishaps, they're really annoying, the Hatchlings, and the Lawachurl. And it's quite difficult for this team to kill them. It's actually nice because the Geo Vishaps, they actually die quite quickly, but the Churl is just such a huge damage sink. It's hard to kill them with this team. And it takes a while. So, there's that. Then, of course, the problem of shields. This team's okay at breaking shields, it's not great. It doesn't deal elemental damage that frequently, but with the help of Xiangling and Diona, we're able to beat 12-3. Now, 12-2 and 12-3 both take around 2 minutes, so it's a little bit unrealistic perhaps to use this as an actual team, but it's really possible to beat the first half in a minute, especially 12-2. 12-3 might be a bit difficult, but yeah. So overall, Swirl Enabler Kazuha, he's fun, he works, but I think you should probably just run Sucrose. That's pretty much how it goes. Now then, with the Swirl Enabler playstyle out of the way, let's talk about Kazuha being played the way he's meant to be played, as a support. Now, Kazuha is really strong as a low investment support. So what I mean by that is, you can literally just slap EM on him, 4VV, and he'll do excellent. He'll increase your damage, he'll deal a lot of swirl damage, it's really good. However, at late game, he starts to fall off. When you start investing into your supports and really having powerful characters, he doesn't keep up. And the reason why is because his build just doesn't change much. Now, we can look at other supports and compare them, and that's the most important thing. You gotta compare them. Kazuha might pass in 40% elemental damage bonus. However, somebody like Bennett can increase their damage by upwards of 50% with the attack passing. Sucrose even can pass in EM, increasing elemental reaction damage by upwards of 20-30%. Competing with characters like Venti, Jean, it's very difficult. You might say that, well, with 1000 EM, Kazuha passes in 40% elemental damage bonus. And that does seem like a lot, but let's put that number into context. To do that, we need to do some math. Now, before people click off, before people start sleeping, the short version is that, well, you're getting diminishing returns. 40% elemental damage bonus isn't actually that much because you already have damage bonus in your kit. So let's take Ganyu for example. If we take our Wanderer's Troop, that gives 35% charge attack bonus, Almus's Bow at R1 gives another 12%, the Goblet gives 46.6% cryo damage bonus, and Ganyu's Elemental Burst boosts her cryo damage by another 20%. That gives a total of 113.6 damage bonus, and if you add in Kazuha's 40% damage bonus, well, now it's only around 19% of an actual damage increase. Now, you might say, that's an extreme example. Ganyu has a lot of percent damage bonus on her kit. So sure, let's look at a theoretical minimum then. We'll factor in two things, 46.6 elemental damage bonus from the Goblet, as well as 15% from a 2-piece set bonus. That gives a total of 61.6 elemental damage, and even with this, Kazuha's damage increase is only around 25%. Now, I'm not saying Kazuha's bad. 25% is 25%, and that's not bad, right? But there's always context. You have to put this in the context of other characters. And when you're competing with Bennett, as I said, 50% plus damage bonus, right? Sucrose, your reactions can go up by 20-30%. It's just not a good look. Anima's really competitive element, right? We have Jean, we have Venti, and Kazuha just doesn't match up. So yeah, with that being said, there's just more valuable supports out there, right? And of course, elemental reaction characters, enablers like Xiangling for Ganyu melt teams, Xingqiu for Vape Diluc or Hu Tao teams, these are just better supports. And when you have only 8 characters to play with in Abyss, well, Kazuha might be a little bit difficult to fit into an actual team. So these last few clips that are playing in the background, they're really, they're Kazuha built for quote-unquote endgame. Basically, I have him built with crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, anima damage bonus, just normal build. But you can see that his damage is just not that impressive, he's really not hitting that hard, he doesn't bring anything because I'm not running any EM on him, so he's just a sub DPS, and he does it worse than Venti, right? So you're really just sitting here with a really bad Venti that doesn't group, that doesn't give you energy, it doesn't, it's just terrible. So yeah, don't run him like this, just build EM. So let's address another issue that Kazuha has, long animations. Kazuha's animations are really long. He sits on the field for a very long time every time he switches in. If you just cast his Elemental Burst, which has a pretty long animation, and his Elemental Skill, you're sitting in for around 5+ seconds. And the reason why is because his Elemental Skill shoots you up in the air and you're forced to plunge. It's a huge time waster, and wasted time is wasted damage. It's as simple as that. So because of that, when you're sitting in for 5 seconds and only increasing your damage for 8 seconds, you actually lose a lot of the value that Kazuha is bringing just because he's spending too much time on the field. And one last issue that he has is that, well, his elemental burst, when it's infused with elements, you can actually screw up elemental reactions. Now, to be fair, this is something that you can play around, so it's not an issue that should come up, but if you're just randomly using his elemental skill, his elemental burst, well, you could actually screw up your reactions and really tank your DPS. So that's something to consider. So, all the problems Kazuha has in late game high investment team comps, is he worth rolling? Well, as infuriating as it is, the answer is basically always it depends. If you're not a late game player, then Kazuha can be very valuable. If you don't own any competent supports, like Venti, Bennett, who, by the way, is on Kazuha's banner, then Kazuha can actually be a great character to pull for. However, if you already have good supports and you don't have DPSs, well, there's really no reason to pull for Kazuha. With all that being said, keep in mind that this is a game. If Kazuha is the character that's going to make you love the game and enjoy playing Genshin Impact, then you should absolutely pull for him. But don't get caught up in the trap of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. If you don't need him, but want to pull him just so you don't miss out on what's new and what's hot, don't pull. It's not worth it. So yeah, to conclude, Kazuha kind of reminds me of Albedo. He's good, but not excellent. And when there are so many excellent characters to choose from, why settle for something that's just good? But yeah, that brings us to the end of the video. Comment Chihayaburu down below if you made it all the way to the end of this video. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed, consider leaving a like. If you have any questions or want to see me overanalyze another character, definitely leave that in the comments section below. And if you want to see more videos like this, considering subbing to my channel, it'd mean a lot to me. But yeah, with that out of the way, have a great day. Hopefully I can see you guys in my next video. Bye.